I seem to be turning into Mr. Angry when I do these Dribbles vlogs. I don't particularly like being angry, but hey, I suppose that's the nature of the series. Bad news or good, I generally like to cover it. So let's cut to the chase and moan about Origin and Uplay, shall we? I mean, that's what we're all here for. I'm gonna do something a bit different too. Firstly, this is a two-part episode. Next week I'll be talking about physical media and why it still exists. This video, however, will be about digital DRM and primarily focuses on Ubisoft's Uplay, EA Origin, Valve's Steam service, and Good Old Games' service and its Galaxy client, and their own business practices. By the way, this episode is dedicated to Haedox as he's recently had a very bad experience with Origin and served as partial inspiration for this video. Anyway, enough stalling, let's talk about it. I fear I may be here a while. I refuse to call Origin or Uplay a service like I do with Steam or GOG Galaxy. Yes, in the traditional sense, the two companies behind these middlemen will give you a product if you give them your credit card, of course. Origin has similar features to Steam too, such as an in-game overlay, a pretty convoluted refund system, and a crappy support process to rival Steam's own horrendous customer support. I can see a theme here. We'll come back to that. At least Origin has some redeeming qualities, and by that I found like two. The first being that even if it's just games EA publishes, they do pretty decently timed sales. Secondly, it has in-game chats and achievements for those who like that sort of thing. That's it. That's all I could find. In contrast, Uplay is an example of how little work a company has to do to pass off a client they've created as a service. The only saving grace Uplay has is an offline mode. I'm not kidding when I say that's the only feature worth mentioning. It has no in-game chat of any kind, no extended features, no anything. It only exists to be a form of DRM that Ubisoft can use to have control over your games, which is a pretty accurate description of bad DRM in general, now that I think about it. Perhaps the reason why both companies are so bad is because of the companies behind them have a history of horrible business practices. Up until Assassin's Creed Black Flag was released, Uplay was notorious for overpriced, underwhelming season passes, and let's be honest, other companies aren't doing much better in that regard. EA, not to be outdone, is known widely in the gaming community for shoddy, broken PC ports and closing studios down for profit, as well as filing trademarks for game franchises long since dead, games that'll never see the light of day, or to be Frankenstein to be brought back to life and potentially ruin the franchise without the original creator's input. Ubisoft's Uplay acts as being just a middleman. It's a gateway for you to play games, earning client currency by playing games through its servers, and nothing else. The sad part is, it's on everything. Uplay is on every console except handheld, yes, even the Wii U, and while it's less shameful on consoles that it does let you track gameplay stats, and again, that's it does nothing else but be a gatekeeper on PC. Hell, some games require a consistent internet connection, though admittedly those are generally online only games anyway, for goodness sakes. Yet some Ubisoft games sold through Steam and other retailers have Uplay in them. Back to Origin and their storefront, more specifically the US version of the site. Why the US site and not the European/Australian/UK site, you might ask metaphorically? Well, to cut a long story short-ish, you have to keep in mind that every regional variation of Origin adheres to their country's respective laws. This goes for all sites, by the way, not just Origin. In most continents, there are laws to protect consumers from, say, false advertisement. This is where things get interesting. You see, unlike Europe, which has decent laws on sexual content and violence portrayed in video games, or Australia, who don't even have an adults rating board, or Germany, who just censor everything imaginable, or even the UK, where the laws surrounding video games are actually pretty relaxed, the US basically has no real consumer laws that are enforced online, not by the government anyway. I'm from England, in case the accent wasn't doing it for you, and the British do have, I'll admit rather strict, laws on what passes as a good advertisement, and while they're not laws as such, think of them as pseudo-laws, they're not officially enforced. British companies selling stuff online don't want to face the scrutiny that is trading standards. That's the body behind the advertising laws in general. Trading standards acts as a third-party enforcer. Do a good ad and you'll be fine. Do a bad ad, it gets pulled at the very worst, and the worst you'll get is a fine. Like I said, pretty relaxed. As far as I can dig up on this, there has to be incredibly big backlashes for something to make Origin change something about its site, or for any American company to change anything about their advertisements. Either that, or the publisher/company changes it before somebody else notices. I think you can guess what happened when Haedox found out about how EA was selling Unravel, a beautiful side-scrolling game starring a yarny protagonist. They've obviously found out Nintendo's secret formula: cute and cuddly protagonists sell oodles of games copies. I'm getting off the subject. Keeping what I said about regional laws in mind, I'm going to tell you a story that happened to our dear friend Haedox. In the US store for Origin, they were selling the PC version of the game in such a way that I would deem confusing, by basically saying in their advertisements, play early if you have a membership for EA Access or Origin Access, which you have to pay for. With me so far. Good. He bought the game plus EA Access, only to realise after 3 frustrating online chats and calls later with our Origin support, Haedox found out that it was Origin Access he needed for PC on Unravel, not EA Access, like both of them were mentioned in the exact same advertisement, as if they were one of the same, rendering his copy of the game totally useless until launch. Oh dear. Do you want to know the difference between the two, by the way? Functionally, the exact same, but EA Access is for the console market, Origin Access is for PC. Adding insult to injury, both EA Access and Origin Access are sold on the PC storefront for some stupid reason. And you wonder why Haedox got so confused. What? What the fuck? When I checked the UK store for Unravel, it said it required Origin Access for early access to the game in promo ads, even offering a 10% discount for when the game launches, and being put in a state of pre-order on its own store page. As for the US site, well, I can't see US ad even on a proxy as I'm in the UK, so I can't comment on that, but I can see why there was confusion, as the site itself is a nightmare to navigate. Oh, but it's worse than that! Regardless of region, they've even been found to have been deleting support chat with users, so you can't have proper transcripts of your conversations with them. Haedox found this out the hard way. I'll take a good punt, by the way, that they do this not for data protection, but more to cover their asses so nobody sues them. So what makes Steam and GOG Galaxy different? Well, for one thing, GOG Galaxy, the client for good old games, isn't even required to play games. You can literally download the games from their site and play the game instantly. That's it. No fanning about with the client, no authentication, nothing. Yes, the GOG Galaxy client has benefits, sing along now. Achievements, sales and overlay. I've always wanted to do that. My point is, the client isn't required. Even compared to Steam, its refund policy is incredibly relaxed too, and it's proud of it. Quite recently, GOG Galaxy started their own games in development program, something which is better than Steam has ever done to their own early access program. GOG, unlike Steam, has quality control in mind by vetting the games personally. If you even dare to look at Steam Greenlight or early access on Steam, it's just disappointment after disappointment after disappointment. See, I'm ready to praise Valve entirely. They have flaws too. And then we get to the big daddy of distribution, the example I've been using up to this point, Steam. It has a newly implemented refund system, which is far less convoluted than Origin's own refund system, but much more restricted than GOG's. It has in-game chat, an overlay, daily sales, and offline mode. Hell, some games sold through Steam are even DRM free, for goodness sakes, like with GOG. You can launch said game without the Steam client active, and even if the game is DRM free on the Humble Store and not DRM free on Steam, indie developers on Steam have been known to package keys that allow you to download the DRM free copy of the game via the Humble Store site. Thank you, Clay Entertainment, by the way. It gets better. Unlike Uplay's terrible play to get credit scheme, Steam has a community marketplace with real actual currency, so people can sell CSGO and TF2 skins for knives and wrenches alike, and turn a tidy profit. Half the motivation of me doing TF2 contracts is the fact I could sell the skin or case afterwards if I don't like it. 28p for a skin may not sound much, but that could be the difference between me getting Undertale or Sonic and All Stars Racing Transformed. Or you can get a hazmat head case instead via Steam Trading, and as long as you don't have escrow, you'll be trading quite happily for a very long time. Aside from that, there's a reason why Steam is held up as high as it is in PC gaming. It does everything a gamer wants. Its DRM is non-intrusive, there are benefits to using it, and looking past its shocking record with customer support and the state of early access and Greenlight, it's the platform for choice for many gamers, as well as me. I'll have links to the articles, the Reddit post that served as partial inspiration for this video, and Haedox's channel in the description. I'll talk to you lot again in part 2 next week. For now though, thank you very much for listening. I am so out of breath.